My next project for the day is to go around the property and get fresh batteries in all the cameras and update firmware. So we're gonna get going on that, and I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about why I run cameras this time of year and a little bit of behind the strategy about where I put them and what I'm doing with them. Well, we've moved over to my south plot on the river bottom farm, and one of my favorite areas. You can see it's getting overtaken by canary grass, so we're gonna have to get that sprayed off. But I actually mowed it a few weeks ago, and really just to clean it out in front of this camera. And this is one of the hottest cameras on this farm. A lot of the deer bed along the river all summer long, and there's a big community scrape on this tree, actually 3 of them. And I have not moved this camera since last fall. So just to talk a little bit about my strategies this time of year, or really year round, I'm one of the guys that I never take my cameras down. I run cameras year round. My primary reason for doing that is to monitor the activity on my farm. I've had issues on multiple properties with trespassing, and so I have cameras strategically placed on major crossings, entry points and exit points where trucks or four-wheelers might be coming in and out. Also to monitor if when the co-op comes in, the fertilize or spray. I know which days it happened, and it just keeps me in touch with what's going on each property. And sometimes that works out as really good areas for deer movement as well. Like on this property, we don't have a ton of food back in this 340 acres, but up along the road, there's lots of ag. And there's only a couple major crossings across some waterways that go out to that ag. And of course, the deer tend to take the path of least resistance. And so those cameras will be some of the busiest cameras all summer long, just catching deer in the evening going out to the ag fields and in the morning coming back. And then I mentioned something earlier, community scrapes. It's, deer use the scrapes year round, communication hubs, so to speak. And I've got multiple cameras on scrapes that they haven't moved since last fall, and all year long they're just using them. And now that the bucks are starting to get more antler on them, it's fun to see them hit those scrapes and come to these licking branches. And I get some of my better pictures of deer earlier in the year over these community scrapes. And the last place I like to have them is on the edges of my food plots. As these clover plots are greening up and getting some food in them, the deer will congregate here in the morning and the evenings. And so it's another spot where I can have cameras on either side of the food plot and just sort of monitoring what deer are where and kind of keeping an eye on their growth. You guys have heard me talk about this CuddeLink CuddeCell system that CuddeBack has put out over the last few years and continues to optimize. And it's really been a game changer for me. Super adjustable settings. You can do video, you can do picture, you can have pictures taken every second versus out to multiple minutes. You can do burst, etc. And then they have these battery backpacks. This holds 12 D batteries in it, and the camera has 4. These batteries are from last October, and it's May, and it's still just taking pictures. And I have it on every 5 seconds. The only time I don't put it on that quickly is if I'm putting it over feed. I'll put it every few minutes or so, just because I don't want, when the deer come to the feeders, if I do protein feed on some of my farms, I have cameras there, and you don't want, it'll overload the cellular system. But another nice part of the CuddeLink CuddeCell system is every single morning I get a text message with a report on each of my farms on my CuddeCell system. It tells me each camera, how much battery life is left, how much SD card space is left, how many pictures are on it, if there's any of them stuck in a queue, all that. Every day I get an update from it, so I always know what's going on. And if there's a camera that's malfunctioning, or there's some grass that's growing up in front of it, like I'm experiencing a lot of right now, I can actually go into the CuddeBack website and I can change the settings. I can turn that camera off, or I can lengthen the interval of the pictures. So very functional, makes it easy to access and manage your cameras remotely, and that saves battery and saves a lot of headache later when you're looking at pictures. We're going to keep moving. I've got a few more cameras to get fresh batteries in and get the firmware updated, and then we're going to get to our last project of the day.